Hey, hello, come back again with me in this video. So in this video, I would like to tell you about my answer toward a final text exam of HRM. So before I start it, let me introduce myself. My name is Erick Tjandra and I'm from International Management Class 2018 Universitas Tanjungpura. And my student number ID is a B1024181029 and my lecturer name is Mr. Adi Mursalin, who teaches us HRM. In this video, I'd like to answer some of the final term tests of HRM. So these questions are divided as three sections. So the first section deals with my activity in the classroom, and then the second section deals with the HRM theory and case, and then the last is third section deals with a HRM article and video HRM. Now I'd like to start for the first section. So the first section, I would like to remove the first question. Mention what you have done in an online class and offline classroom during the HRM lecture delivered by your lecturer. How is your lecture attendance of HRM? So actually during the offline class, I've already done presentation with the title is knowledge and organizational learning and its management through HR practices, critical perspective. Besides that, in the offline class, I asked my friend that do the presentation. Sometimes my friends when do presentation, they also give us a question, then I sometimes answer the question. And then about the online classroom, I've made a lot of video about HRM, and I also made a video records in WhatsApp group and also at Moodle and Hangouts. About the attendance list, in the office offline classroom, usually we are using attendance list that is provided by the campus. But in the online classroom, our lecturer do the attendance list by using presency absensi untan that is provided as well by the campus. And besides that, sometimes our lecturer, Mr. Adi Mursalin, asks us to write our name and study under student ID number on a via Hangouts every Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. And then the next question is what books are used in studying HRM? Mention the titles of the HRM books and what do the book discuss? How many chapters does each book have and mention their topics? And how do the books benefit you as a student? So actually, there are three books that we use to study HRM, which are the first is Human Resource Management, a critical approach, knowledge. So this book discuss about the HRM in critical approach, which means there are some experts that have their definition toward the HRM, and then they also have a concept about HRM, tracing its development over time, and then systematically analyzes the context of HRM, practice of HRM, and international perspective of HRM. So about this book, there are 20 chapters, which is included three parts. So for the first part, there is including 10 topics. So the first is human resource management, a critical approach. Second, HRM in changing organizational context. Next, strategy HRM, a critical review. And then the next, HRM and organizational performance. And then the next is HRM and ethical perspective. Next, HRM practices to diversity management, individualization, precariousness, and precarity. Then the next is organizational outsourcing and implication for HRM. The next is reconfiguration and regulation of supply chains and HRM in times of economic crisis. And then the next is knowledge and organizational learning and its management through HR practices, a critical perspective. And then the last is HRM in small and medium-sized enterprises. And then the next part is a second part. It is including six topics. So the first is requirement and selection. Second is HR planning, institution strategy, tools, and techniques. And then the next is performance management. And then the next is reward management. Next is human resource development. And then the last is industrial election and human resource management. And then we move to the part three. There is a four topics. So the first is human resource management in emerging markets, and then comparative HRM, the debates and the evidence, and then international human resource management, and the last is HRM increases. And then the next book is process statement, effective people leadership and organizational development in healthcare, second edition. So this book tells about the effective way about the leadership and the organizational development in healthcare. So this book also discusses about the two parts, which is like a discipline and attitude. So in this book, there are some topics which is included with the parts. So the first part is about discipline. So the discipline has five topics. So the first is leadership. Second is organizational development. What on earth is it? And then the third is the team player. And then the fourth, organizational learning. Can the right hand know what the left hand is doing? And then the last is human resource management. And then we move to the next part is about attitudes. The attitudes contains five topics as well. So the first is being patient focused, and then the next is building effective organizations, the lesson of Nigel and Bricklayer. Then the next is getting to the very heart of the matter, and then the next is personal growth, seven essential steps, and then the last is action speaks louder than words. And then we move to the third book. It is effective communication. So this book tells about how to get an effective way to in the communication. So it is really important for the people that read this book because this book giving some tips about the effective communication. Communication in this book may include like speaking, listening, or even the writing. So this book has already for us have a fourth chapter as well. So the first is understanding communication skill, and then the speaking and writing, and then communicating with your team, and then the last is communicating externally. So that is about the book, and then the benefit that I can get from this book is about how can I get from the effective communication, how the best way to get the effective communication, and then how can I know about the SRM itself, and then I know about the discipline and attitudes about about the leadership, and so many way that I can get from the expert perspective about the SRM itself. And then we would like to move to the next question is about how many videos on Edmodo have you watched? Mention the titles, explain what the speakers discuss, or explain in the videos you have watched, where you pause your video recording. So actually, I have watched five videos that the title are first, understanding in sexual harassment. Second, it's ERG theories, and then the next is motivation theories by Herzberg, and then the next is strategic human resource management, and then the next is performance management cycle. The next is advanced human resource executive program, and then the last is the future of HR is digital. Are you ready? So the first is about the videos that I mentioned it about the understanding in sexual harassment. It tells about like a physical conduct as sexual nature, which is included a verbal, visual, and physical. So the verbal, it means we have a dirty joke with the people, with the teammate, maybe uh, when the joke is about the sexual, so it means it will include the sexual harassment. And then the next is about the visual. The visual may include like a poster, drawing, picture, email, or the test of the sexual nature. And then the last is physical, includes impending and blocking movement, or maybe a hugging, kissing, rubbing, the sexual gesturing. So that is include the physical. And then the next is about HRG theory. So the HRG theory also has their own meaning. It means existences, and then R is relatedness, and then the G growth. So existence, it means that we need our basic survival needs, like food, water, and shelters. And then about the relatedness, it means that our needs to related to other people. For example, we are cell, this need will be relevant with the basic people's need. And then the next is about the growth, our needs of personal development to be creative and perform work. Then the next is about the motivation theories by Hexberg. So about motivation theories, Hexberg says that they believe there's two factors that will motivate their employee. The first is about the motivator, and the next is about the hygiene. About the motivators, it can be doing by some managers to motivate their employee to what they working. And then about the hygiene, it means that managers being one of the factor can be emulated by the employees. So it means that employee will get motivated, will and then will see about the attitude of the manager, and then they will follow it. And the next is about a strategic human resource management. So in this video, it talks about the strategy of human resource management that is really important for the company, because sometimes the company have its own organization culture, and the organization culture has its own ways to get their target. So that's why for the employee who come to the organizational, there is a strategy human resource management to make they really understand about the organizational culture. Then about the next is performance management cycle. It is about how the habit of the employee being good to achieve the goal. For example, the manager will ask the employee to rate their goals or target toward the future of the company, and then the manager will fulfill about their needs in order to get the target, and also the manager will give a responsible to the employee itself. And then the next is about the Advanced Human Resource Executive Program. In this way, the speaker says about the how can we make a decision in the executive program. For example, we can get improve our HR by discussing with our people, and then sharing people experience and reading book. This is a really important about the human resource executive program. Is about a network, because network can make the relation between the company and the worker. Then the next is about the future HR is digital. Are you ready? It is about how the future HR must doing in the future, because we know that HR want to make a decision based on the data. So in the future, all of the data will be calculated or implemented by the machine. So that's why it is really important by the HR to know about this skill, like analytical skill, in order to can um, see or maybe make decision based on the data in the machine. And then those video that I have already watched it, and then I make a file video recording, has been sent the link on Edmodo, YouTube, and Hangouts. I think the benefit that I can get from this video, it is about the how can I find the people's opinion toward their theories of the HRM itself. And then the next question is mention and explain the topic presented by your friends after the midterm test of HRM. Who presented the topics? What question did you ask the presenter? And what question did you answer given the present by the presenter? How did you present their topics? What benefit have you got from the topic they have presented to you? Actually, the first is organization development by Muhammad Maruf. In this chapter, he explained about the organizational change in an organization culture. Beside that, how behavior can lead the organization being a success, because of one of the development will be focused on the workers' behavior. And then the next is about the leadership by Alda. Alda tells that the things that will be needed in the leadership, for example, like confidences, will be the best way for in order to be a great leader. And then besides that, how the fundamental as the solution to achieve peace and a fulfillment of human potential in leadership. And then the next is human resource management by Riana Detawa Mawarni. It tells about the function of the human resource management in the company, and human resource management can be developed their worker like individual and organizational. Then the next is speaking and writing by Selene Claudia. It tells about the planning and speech, developing visual support, improving confidences, delivering speech, and manager plays the important role. So this kind of things are useful for manager in the small or the big company. Then the last is about the human resource planning by Jordan Topan Pambera. It tells about the human resource planning as the strategy in the future. For example, if the company did this requirement for their in order to get a target, so the human resource planning will find the requirement to select the worker that will be needed in the company. That is the example. So actually, several questions that I've already asked to my friend, that is Maruf. One of the person is Maruf. So which is what is your opinion about measurement of effectiveness in the organization? And Maruf answered, the measurement of effectiveness in organization is like a start over, like a bring a new skill, new ideas, and new ways to doing things. And then engagement, and then parting words. And then I also asked to Alda about the leadership. I asked how can the leadership motivate to their teams. So Alda said that leader must know the all team conditions, which means the leader should give appreciation for them who has achieved their targets or maybe not already achieved the target. But for those who have run the progress, no matter it is small progress or big progress, the leader must motivate them and then must appreciate them. That is about the others question answer. And then in my opinion, I think all the presenter has presented well, and they also explain in detail, so it can make me feel can make me understand well about the explanation. And the benefit that I can get is I can know well about the SRM by their own perspective also, not for the book, but also for their perspective toward the HRM itself. For example, like a leadership and maybe communication, HRM itself. There are so many that I can get from their presentation. And then the next question is, what is your impression studying HRM online? How does COVID-19 affect the way of teaching and learning of HRM? What are the positive and negative sides of COVID-19 related to your study of SRM and the other subject in your university? So actually, for the first impression about HRM online class is great because I think it will be same like offline class, and I think it is the first time I experience an online class like a dual meeting in the Google Meeting and a Zoom. And then during the COVID-19, the way of teaching or learning of SRM is moving into the online class system because we must still at home in order to be safe. Actually, because of this, I experienced about the online system. I can utilize some technology to learn about the HRM class. And then besides that, actually, there is a positive and negative way during COVID-19 that related of my study HRM and other subjects in my university. For example, in the positive way, I can utilize the technology to learn the HRM, not only the HRM but the other subject that I study. Besides that, I can know about the media that can support us to do a meeting, for example, like Google Meeting, Zoom, Hangouts, and there are so many applications. And then about the negative way that I feel that is about the connection of the internet because sometimes the connection of internet is unstable. So it means sometimes it is hard for us to deal with it because we know the internet sometimes are not going well. So that's why sometimes there are some students get disconnected. Okay, that is about the first section. So I would like to move to the second section. The second section, in this section, you must answer the following question related to HRM. There are 21 questions given. You can choose 13 questions to answer. So, like the first question that I choose is why study human resource management? Because I think human resource management is the best thing to manage people in the company, and then how we can improve people, how can we develop the human resource in the company, and then we also how can we manage the conflict among the employees, and then how we utilize the employee and then trying to develop them. And then the next question is the differentiate between performance appraisal and job evaluation. So there's the difference between performance appraisal and job evaluation. So the first is job evaluation is the process analyzing and assessing various jobs systematically to ascertain their relative worth in an organization. And then about job evaluation, it is like an assessment of the relative worth of various jobs of the basis of consistency set of the job personal factors such as like qualification and skill required. And then the next question is discuss the importance of human resource planning. Actually, human resource planning is really important because in our life we needed a plan. Same like the human resource planning because when they want to get the quality of worker, they must do requirement, they must do planning about what kind of requirement that they need to the worker that want to work into the company itself. Besides that, it can help the outsourcing and fulfill the organization needs. Okay, so that's why it's really important. And then it can also planning prevents the business from failing into the trap, and then it will have to work proactively the expense of workforce, and then it can also enable the company to plan its expansion and the diversification. And then the last is about human resource planning contributes towards management successes and development. So that's why it's really important. And then the next is about management of men is challenging job explain. Actually, yes, it is challenging because as can we see that we divide it as a machine and a human. We can say if a machine, we can easily to manage it because a machine doesn't have a behavior, but it's just like a program. But man or human, it is really hard because they have a different behavior. It is really hard for us to know that, to guess it about their behavior. So that's why management of man is a challenging job. Explain. And then the next is differences between job description and job specification. So about the job description, job description is about the how we describe what the job that we want to do, like the duty, like what they was doing, about the job title, about the job location. It like about the description of the job itself. But about the specification, it will move to the about the knowledge, about the quality of the job itself, the person of the particular job. So it means that the specification job will be needed for the skills itself. And then the next is what do you understand by industrial relation? Actually, in this industrial relation, or we can say IR, encompasses the relation between the management and workmen and rule the regulatory body to resolve any industrial dispute. And then the next is about a briefly explain the importance of discipline. Actually, discipline is really important in our daily life because discipline will maintain our social ways. For example, if we know that it is like a basis of society, if there are no discipline, people would do whatever they want. They won't do whatever they do, and they want. For example, if they want to go to work, they can't go by the time that they want, and then they can put in some consideration are the first and foremost. So that's why discipline is one of the best good human behavior. So that's why this is really important. Then the next is about explain what human resource management is and how it relates in management process. Actually, the human resource management objective may be influenced by organizational, individual, and social goals objective. The organizational objective consists of the earn profit, growth, and expansion to survive in the competition, stability, and diversification. This objective can be achieved by human resource of the organization. Then the next is an example of how HR management concepts and techniques can be of use to all managers. HR management concept and techniques can be useful to all managers because HR focus mainly on dealing with people. This is sometimes all managers can learn from. So that's why HR motivates the employee in order to make the employee to be happy, and they need to HR need a practice, give a learning to the employee in order the employee can be ready about their skills. So the next is about what do you mean by human resource department? Actually, human resource department is the place which is utilize about the human resource itself. Human resource described as the people who make up the workforce of an organization, industry, business sector, or economy. So that's why human resource department is a critical component of an employee well-being. Any business, no matter how it's small or big, has our responsibility includes the payroll, benefits, hiring, firing, and keeping up to date with state and federal tax laws. And then the next is define the conflicts. Actually, conflicts is an organization conflicts or workplace conflict is a state of the discord causes by the actual perceived opposition, or we can say it happens when the people have a different perspective. And then the next is about explain the rule of the audit in the human resource management. So actually, an audit helps the organization to access its current position. It helps estimate what needs to be achieved to improve an HR function. And then the next is about differentiate between training and development. Actually, training is a program that organizes the people develop their skill and knowledge about the skill that they want to need it. And then about development, it is about the activity, about manpower, how they can develop the organization team and growth and self-assessment. And then next question about is what is the importance of the training? Actually, the importance of the training itself, training may make the people more capable about their skills, and then they can more be ready about the skill that they have and more confidence uh, and get a development for to be ready to develop their company. And then the next is about briefly describe the importance of SRM. Actually, first is formulation of HR policies, second implementation of HR policies, and then review employee needs, and then development of social welfare, and then utilization of human resource, and then development of labor management relation, and then the last is overall development of organization. And then we like to move to the third section. Third section, it is included as two parts. So I'd like to move to the first part first. So to read the following article and answer the following question, you must open the following links. And then what is the title you read? What does the article explain to you? So the first article that I read is about examining the gender influence on employees' work engagement within a South African university. Actually, this article explains about how the gender influence the employees' work engagement within a South African university. In this article, it tries to explain about the finding provides scope for future research in South Africa which should examine ethics and cultural connotations related to gender and further investigate how these influence employers' work engagement. And then the next question is, what is the problem statement formulated in the article? Actually, the problem statement formulated in this article is about the ethnic and cultural that is related to the gender and work engagement. Work engagement is gendered in that it is easier for men and to be engaged than women. So it means that the man has the speciality rather than woman. So that's why the men have get more experience rather than women. Accordingly, the men their characteristics are more valued and regarded as the more useful than women, and their characteristic leading to conclusion that process practices and interactions in organization are designed so that it's really easier for men to experience psychological meaningfulness, which ultimately leads to more work and judgment, which is a quantitative non-experimental cross-sectional survey design was used to collect data from 154 university employees were purposely selected to participate in this study. Data were analyzed using SPSS software version 23.0, and the findings show no statistically significantly gender differences amongst employees with regard to their levels of engagement. However, in South Africa, it is not spared from prevailing talent war. South Africa also lack of the skills. For example, they don't have a good soft skill, then don't have a capability skill, so it makes a difficulties for the opportunity economic opportunity. As a result, organizations may not effectively realize their growth objective without the competence and engaged employees to make it happen. And then the next is about the mention and explain the theories used in the article. Why does the writer use the theory? Okay, actually, there is some theories that they use. The first is a theoretical perspective. Why it is they use about this theoretical? This theoretical actually explain about the perspective by the experts to support the the writer to about their research. So that's why it used to get the perspective of the expert's opinion toward the work engagement. And of course, this theory have been experienced and researched by the experts, so they can assume based on their research. These theories will lead people to find the answer about the people perspective and toward the work engagement. And then the next is about trends regarding work engagement. As we know that the work engagement in the South Africa is using about the gender. So we know that they sometimes the South Africa using a gender ethic to require the people or worker, And then, as we know, this theory will help the expert as well to know about the behavior of the worker engagement, because we know some of the behavior of the psychology will be seen by the because of the gender or maybe the ethic in the company itself. And it needs to be known about their psychology toward the trends. And then the next is about the theoretical foundation, which is the study the forest going discussing provides positive evidence for enhancing work engagement of employees in an organization. In my opinion, I think the writer used this theory because they want to get more relevant data, so that's why they must have this theory in order to improve their research, to make any progress for their research, or maybe get a sampling maybe. So that's why they must know about the perspective many experts toward the gender and work engagement. Besides that, about the trends, they use that will lead the emotional of the psychology of worker itself. And then the next is about the mention and explain the previous research in the article you have read. Why is previous research very important? Actually, it is really important. Yeah. Some of the research using empirical research and then existing theoretical. Empirical research, it means that he presented work and judgment as the psychological experience of work, and work contents which influence the process by which people present or absent themselves during role performance. And then existing theoretical frameworks from number of pioneering scholars. The previous research is very important because it can support the idea for any people are inherently ambivalent about being members of ongoing groups and systems and seek to protect themselves from both isolation and engulfment by alternatively pulling away from and moving toward memberships. And then the next is about what was the research method used by the writers? Why did they use the method? Actually, they use a research method, research participants, and then measures, research procedures, and then data analysis. And then why they use this research? The reason is because this method will be useful for them to get a sample, because the sample about their research, they must using this method in order to get the valid result toward the work engagement or maybe about the gender. For example, they must know about the gender, race, ethnic to get the data. And then they're also using UWES in order to measure the work engagement scale, and SPSS is the software that analyze using statistical data. And then the next is about how did you find the sampling method used by the writers? Actually, the sampling data can be used by the KMO, it is the abbreviation from Kaiser Meyer Olkin, analyzes to determine the sample adequacy and the specificity of the item correlation matrix. And then the reliability table analysis using a Bronze bunch alpha coefficients to measure the accuracy of the UWES to determine how repeatable the results are. Then the next question is about explain the research finding in the article you have read. So there are several approaches that they use. So the first is about research approach. This study followed a quantitative, non-experimental cross-sectional survey design. Primary data were collected from employees working in a South Africa university in order to achieve the purpose of the study. Then the next is about the research participants. So the research using the 154 employees purposely sampled from the South Africa University. And then the participants were academic 80%, and then the 20% is about the super professionals who had the same backgrounds about in economic and management science disciplines. And then the next is about the measures. Work engagement was measured using a Utrecht Work Engagement Scales, or we can say UWES. The UWES is a 17 items self-report instrument that includes three subscales, namely figure 6 item, dedication 5 item, and the last is absorption 6 items. And then the next is about the research produce procedure. So there is like a permission of the ethics clearance to conduct the study was obtaining from the target university before the data collection commenced. And then the last is about the data analysis. Data were analyzed by using SPSS software version 2.23.0. Both descriptive and inferential statistics were computed in line with the purpose of the study. Frequency distribution were computed in order to provide the responsible respondents in terms of their demographic characteristics. And then this is about the part one of the section three. So I would like to move the part two. This second part it is about the we give a comment about the video that has been given. So there are 5 links video that I have already watched it before. So and then each video contains 5 questions. So I would like to move for the first video, that is effective communication. So who is the speaker in this video? Actually, the speaker in this video is a way forward YouTube channel. And then the second is what do the speaker talk and explain in this video? Actually, the speaker talks about the effective communication. We know that the effective communication will be including like listening, um, understanding and responding, and these 3 parts is really important in to get the effective communication. So listening includes including words that they will say, and then non-verbal such as a body language or maybe a facial expression, plus paying attention to voice modulation. And then there's understanding how they can understand about the gesture or maybe about the explanation that the speaker has already give to the people. That is about understanding, but sometimes people get misunderstanding because they don't really get the full information or right information toward the speaker itself. And then the last is about the responding. But the responding is like our response toward the uh, about the how can we respond about the information that we get after the process of the listening and the understanding about our, and then the last about our responding toward the um, toward the message maybe, or maybe toward the explanation. So it is really needed for us to about the know about the our information that we get in order to get the effective way of the good responding. And then the next is about what theory can you get in this video. So actually this video has already give a theory about the some tip of the effective way communication, like a listening, um, understanding and responding. That is, I think 3 of this is like a way to get effective communication. So that's why that is a theory that they use to in more depth. And then the next is about how do the video benefit you as a student. Actually, as a student, I get a benefit that we must listen carefully with other people are talking about, and then understand about what they are mean. So it will avoid the misunderstanding and then respond them in the good response. That is what I can get about the benefit in order to get a benefit uh, effective communication. And then the next is about can you understand about the speaker in this video and you have watched it and why? Actually, I quite understand about the video because the video has provided a lot of explanation and a lot of examples, and they also provide the animation so it can make me more easily understand about the example that they give. Besides that, they also provide the subtitles so I can really understand about what they have already conveyed. So I'd like to move to the second video. So the second video is about how to deal with conflict. So the first is about who is the speaker in this video. The speaker in this video is a Litmos Heroes YouTube channel. And then the next is what do the speaker talk and explain in this video. So in this video, the speaker explaining about how to deal with conflicts to achieve something. The speaker also explaining about the conflicts such as a personal conflicts and then why does the conflict occurs in the first place. So we can see from the perspective of the others who might be different from our point of view. Sometimes conflict happens because we have a different perspective. So that's why we as a human we must know the way to in order to avoid the conflict. The first of all, we must understand if you want to be understood by other people, we must really understand about their perspective as well. So it will avoid the conflict itself. Then the speaker explained about if we want to deal with a conflict, we must find a middle ground so that nothing is overlooked. So we must be an icebreaker. We also have a finish the or maybe organize the problem using a cool head with a calm attitudes or maybe in the chill mode. And then the next is about what theories can you get in this video. Actually, the theories can I get is about how can we deal with the conflict, and then details also about how can we argue with people with a cool head, and then not only that, how can we more respect with people about this perspective before they respect with our perspective. That is a theory that I can get it. And then next is about how do the video benefit you as a student. Actually, this is a really benefit to me because first I will know how to deal the conflict itself, and then the second is how can I know about the conflict happens because we have a different perspective, and then how can we be an icebreaker to redeem the conflict itself, decrease the conflict, and then that is really important to me. And then the last is about can you understand the speaker in this video you have watched? Why? Actually, I can understand, but they have explained it in the video. They also give an animation, so I can know about the animation and I can understand what the speaker want to convey it toward the video. So that's why I really know well about the video. And then the next is about the third video. It is how to reduce stress in the workplace. Yeah. Who is the speaker in this video? This is Caroline McManus. And then the next is what do the speaker talk and explain in the video? Actually, the speaker talks about some tips toward the reduce the stress in the workplace. They give 5 tips toward how can we manage it, or maybe we decrease our stress in the workplace. So the first is we take your own good advice. We must talk with ourselves, like we are talking to our dear friends, so as not feel stressed. And then the second is the breathe deeply, because the first reaction of appears our body when we are stressed is the waist pain. So we must take a deep breath. And then the next is about the set the realistic goals. They set themselves to very high stress levels just in that attitude and approach. And then the fourth is about the we caring about our body itself. So because sometimes when we get a stress, we don't have a time to care with our body. But the important one we must to care our body. For example, we have still have a eating schedule and then drinking. Don't forget to drink. Don't forget to take a sleep or take a break. Then the last is about the review of the what went well, always thinking well, having good thoughts, and can also affect our mental health. Okay, and then the next is about what theories can you get in the video. Actually, there are a lot of theories that I can get from this, because the theory the speaker used is about the tips that how to reduce the stress in the workplace. So that's why it is a really useful theories, and then will be the best way for them to that watch this video to reduce their stress. And then the next is about how do the video benefit you as a student. Actually, this video benefit to me because this video has given us some several tips about this how to reduce the stress in the workplace, and it is really useful to me to know because sometimes when I get a stress, maybe sometimes I will don't care about my health activity. So that's why by that I know that how to reduce the stress. The best way is we must care our body. Besides that, we must breathe deeply. Then it's really important to us to feel chill and then calm about the problem that we face. And then the next is about the can you understand the speakers in the video you have watched it and why? Actually, I'm quite understand because they has already given several tips in details, and then these tips is really useful as well to me. So that's why they presented it well, and then I can really understand well as well. And then the next is about the fourth video is preventing COVID-19 in your workplace on a while teleworking. So the first is with the speaker in this video. The speaker in this video is WHO YouTube channel. And then the next is what do the speaker talk and explain in this video. So I told you the speaker explained our ways to protect ourselves from the COVID-19 attacks at work. Sometimes because of COVID-19, some of the workplace need to make any protocol in order to keep their workers being safe. So the WHO giving some tips or advice toward the COVID-19 at the workplace. So the first is keep at least 1 meter distance and then washing hand regularly, clean and disinfect frequently touched objective and surfaces and avoiding touched spaces. Stay at home as possible, cough and stretch a tissue and close your mouth using an elbow. So that's why they give the speaker says about this video. And then what the theories can you get from this video? Actually the theory that I can get is about the theory of the um, good habit. It means the health habit, good health habit. For example, like we must stay clean and then awake during the COVID-19 pandemic, because we know that the way it's done is quite easy, and it also affect many people if we ignore the guidelines. So that's why they use a theory about the how can we feel still clean, still safe, still can take a safe to our body, like wearing a mask and washing hand, and there's so many things like that. And then the next is about how do the video benefit you as a student? Actually, this video benefit to me a lot. For example, first I can get the tips at the workplace itself about how must we do also we do toward the COVID-19 at the workplace, and it's really useful. And then the tips that we when we have a sneezing or maybe coughing, how can we close our mouth using our elbow? That is really important. And the next is can you understand the speaker in the video you watch it and why? Actually, I can understand about the video that have already been explaining. And then I also can know well about some tips toward the videos, and they're really useful to me. So that's why, based on their how they can present it, and then they explain in detail, I can really get the information well. And then the last video is about the Q&A coronavirus, COVID-19 in the workplace, WHO, Dr. Rosamund Lewis. So actually in this video, with the speaker in this video, the first is Rosamund Lewis, a World Health Organization or WHO YouTube channel. So what do the speaker talk and explain in this video? Actually, the speaker tells about some of the Q&A that they has been giving by the people toward the speaker. Then the speaker will give the explanation toward the Q&A. So it turns about the rule of the employees is very influential on the coronavirus. Coronavirus can spread to people around us very quickly when we talk, cough, or even sneezing, because this can cause infection. We can overcome this by washing our hands and maybe as often as possible, whether using water or maybe using hand sanitizer. And we don't allow to touch anything in around us. It means yeah, you don't need to touch things from outside, yeah, in order to keep you feel safe. And then the next is you're not allowed to touch your face, yeah, because sometimes virus will spreading through your face. If you so that's why you are not allowed to touch your face. And then don't forget to stay clean, yeah. If you want to open a business in a new place during the pandemic, that must be done beforehand is that we check whether there are reported by COVID-19 exposure in the area. So that's why if you want to open a business, you maybe can guide by the protocol that has been made by a government maybe, so you must to follow the guide. So this is really important. And then beside that, when you have coughing or maybe sneezing, you can close your mouth using an elbow. So that's why about the Q&A of the speakers tells about the coronavirus. And then the next is about what theory that can you get in the video. Actually, there are a lot of theory that I can get, same like the before video, the fourth video before. So as we know that the theory I got from the watching this video, I got a lot of knowledge about the virus itself and how to prevent it, how to avoid the virus, how can we survive with the virus. Whenever we must stay clean, we must follow the guide or maybe the protocol that has been made by the government, and then we must wash our hand regularly, and then when we cough, sneeze, we can close our mouth using our elbow. Besides that, the next is how do the benefit you as a student. Actually, the video benefit that I can get is about the several tips that the speaker saying. For example, the tips when we must wash our hands regularly, and then we must wearing a mask, and then when you coughing and sneezing, you must close it with your mouth using elbow. There are so many ways that we can stay clean and stay healthy by see from the video. Okay, the next is can you understand the speaker in this video? You watch it and why? Actually, I can understand about the video that I have already watched it before because we know that I can understand the speaker saying and then the speaker tell about the explanation toward the COVID-19 in detail, and then they also give a explanation or maybe a tips toward the COVID-19. We also give some tips like this. It is a if you have a possible way to do a meeting at home, you can do it at home using a Google Meeting or Zoom. So that's why I think it is the benefit that I can still get from the video itself. Okay, so I think that is about the video review about the five video that I've already watched. So the last is about the after you have answered all of the question given, you must give the closing comments in English. So actually, I would like to give a comment about in English about the question or the answer. So, but the question that I get in this final exam is more variance. It means that I can give my answer not only by the books, not only by the internet, but I can give my opinion and then using my experience as well toward the question that I answer. So that is really, really good question, I think. And then about the video that I've already watched, I get a lot of information toward the COVID-19 maybe, and then about the effective communication, and then about the how to deal with stress. Yeah, there are so many I can get from the question and then the video that I've already watched in this final term exam. And also I can give my experience to what the question that asked about my the situation in the classroom. I can give my opinions, I can give my experience. That is a really great question. And then the first of all, I want to say thank you to all of your of my friends and actually for my lecturer, Mr. Adi Mursalin, that have already given us about this question, and then we can express our opinion toward this video. That is a really, really good opportunity that I've already get. And then not only that, I hope what I can answer the question, and then the material that I learned, especially for the experience or maybe opinion that I share in this video, that it will be benefit for all of you. I think thank you and stay healthy.